Good morning. I am on my way up to Orange County right now. For my 30th birthday, I ran 30 miles, which we also recorded and is also on YouTube. And it's crazy because 11 months have gone by and I turned 31 in a few weeks. So we're gonna do 30 facts about me while I'm still 30. Fact number 1, I was born and raised in San Diego, California. Fact number 2, schools. I went to preschool at Los Pen. I went to Park Village Elementary. I went to Mesa Verde Middle. And I went to Westview High School. Fact number 3, my parents emigrated here from the Philippines. My mom is from Guagua, Pampanga. My dad is from Balanga, Bataan. And my stepmom is from Orani, Bataan. Fact number 4, 3 siblings. My brother, who is 1 year and 3 months older than me. A stepsister who is 1 year and 5 months younger than me. My other stepsister who is 2 years and 7 months younger than I am. Fact number 5, my favorite color. Honestly, I don't really have a favorite color. Let's just say growing up, my favorite color was red because of the Red Power Ranger, who was my favorite Power Ranger. Fact number 6, I learned English in preschool. And to be honest, it's not even like I'm speaking full sentences in preschool, because I went to preschool in I was 3 or 4 years old. So yeah, when you're 3 or 4 years old, you're not speaking these long, elaborate sentences yet. What I can say though is my primary language growing up was Tagalog, because my parents would speak to us at home in Tagalog rather than English. So when I went to preschool when I was 3 or 4, I remember it like yesterday. I was so embarrassed because I couldn't understand what the teachers were saying, and I couldn't understand what the other kids were saying. And it's not even like they were saying too much, because when a preschool teacher is talking to a kid who's so young, they're probably not saying too much, you know? Or the instructions aren't even that deep or difficult. And then when another kid is talking to me who's also 3 or 4 years old, it's not like they're speaking in elaborate sentences either. It's just, I think I knew like hi and hello. My primary language that I was exposed to quickly became English. So I became more accustomed to English, became more accustomed to hearing English, having to communicate in English. Fact number 8, I like things very clean and organized. My earliest memories of being like kind of like really clean and organized and liking things a certain way was when I was a kid, when I was young, even when I was full. Like say I was full already or I wasn't hungry anymore, I would still make sure to eat all the food off my plate, including every piece of rice. And this is not even coming from my parents. My parents didn't have to tell me to, you know, sometimes you hear other parents say, make sure you finish your food. They never had to tell me that. For some reason, I just did it. I did a home tour around this time last year too. It's also on this channel if you want to watch that sometime. You might think, you know, this guy's doing a home tour. He probably cleaned up his place for this. It probably don't always look like this. My place always looks like that. Fact number 9. So my mom, we spoke about my mom earlier. My mom passed away from pancreatic cancer when I was in 3rd grade. I was 9 years old. Since my mom passed away at an age where I was so young, I feel like I was still very impressionable. You're still associating things with certain things. People might come by the place and maybe drop off flowers, even at the viewings or the wakes or whatever you want to call them. There were a lot of flowers. At the funeral, there were a lot of flowers. All typical things of like a funeral, you know, nothing unusual. However, since I was so young, every time I smell flowers now, I just think of funerals. Like that's just where my mind goes. And I know it kind of sounds sad and a little morbid. When I smell flowers, I think of funerals. When I think of funerals, I think of the people who have passed. Yes, I wish they were still here. And at the same time, I'm happy I'm thinking about you, you know? Because unfortunately, we don't think about each other, even like each other, just people living, you know? We don't think about our friends and families and those around us as much as we need to or should sometimes. What more the people that aren't here? Fact number 10. Ooh. All right, fact number 10. I was hospitalized in the Philippines with dengue fever. And I was young. I might have been like 10 or 11 or 12. I'm pretty sure this was the first trip we took to the Philippines after my mom passed away. So it was just my dad, my brother, and I. It was just us three. We're always there like pretty long time, like 3 weeks, a month, depending on how long my parents get off of work. And and I guess it's unfortunate. No matter when I got dengue, it would have like thrown off plans no matter when. But for some reason, it just makes me like laugh because I got dengue like, I think like 2 or 3 days before we were about to go home back to the States. And mind you, we'd been there for like 3 weeks or a month already. So it probably threw off all the last day plans or whatever, because I got dengue. They had to rush me to a hospital. First of all, that was interesting. And this is not to make fun of the Philippines. Let's just acknowledge that the Philippines is still a developing country. So of course the infrastructure is not maybe as it is in the developing country that I'm used to in America, in the States. So this is not making fun of them. It just is what it is. I walked into the hospital and I was like, what is this? It was so like bare, and I don't know. That was an experience in itself. I was going through it, and yeah, I was hooked to an IV for 2 days in a hospital in the Philippines, in the province, right? We weren't in Manila, we were in the province. And yeah, you just imagine, like, I was hooked up to IV for 2 days. I had to get off of it, even though I wasn't 100% yet. I felt better, but I wasn't 100% yet, because we had to fly home to America. We had a flight, you know, like, my dad, you know, like, he's got work to get back to. Like, there's a schedule to follow. I'm here clutching a throw-up bag. Flight attendants always checking on us to see if we need anything. Oh, and then, you know, also, first of all, dengue is transmitted by mosquito bites. So while it's like bad for the person, it's not contagious the way, you know, the way the flu is, or maybe COVID. It's not contagious. So I was able to get on this flight without, you know, harming anyone else or putting anyone in danger. So anyways, I'm on this 13 hour flight, clutching a bag. We get to LAX, Los Angeles Airport. Our relative picks us up, and we still have to drive an hour and a half, 2 hours back to down to San Diego. So it's like hospital, flight, drive 2 hours, hour and a half to 2 hours down to San Diego. And then once we got to our house, it was like 11 p.m. already, 10:30, 11 p.m. Put our stuff inside, and my dad rushed me, and I'm pretty sure my brother came with us. He rushed us to the ER so they could take care of me. And we're at the ER at maybe like midnight at this point, right after landing from the Philippines. And yeah, maybe it was a placebo effect, I'm not sure. But I felt pretty okay after that. They hooked me up to an IV, and I was pretty much okay by the next day. And maybe I was thinking, oh, I'm in America, the medicine's better. Who knows? I don't know. Or maybe it really was better. Who's to say? But I just, every time I think of that story, it's crazy. Just the timing. Like I said, it would have been crazy at any time, but it's just like, I had to fly home with dengue. And wild fact number 11, top video games. The last video game I played like religiously or a lot was NBA 2K11. It's 2021. My top 4 video games in no order are Goof Troop, Super Nintendo, Mega Man X, Super Nintendo, Tekken 3, PlayStation 1, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1, PlayStation 1. Fact number 12, I was caught shoplifting the summer in between my freshman year of high school and my sophomore year of high school. One time we were at this retail store. I don't really feel like saying which one. Just know it was a big chain retail store. It was me and 3 other guys. It was like a keychain light with a button on the front. You click the button, I don't know how many times, and like a laser beam comes out, so it's like a laser. Or you click it maybe like twice or something, and it becomes a mini flashlight instead. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And it was maybe like $5. Like, you know, just being not smart. Anyways, I rip it out of its container. I throw its container in the, like, somewhere random, like a random aisle, and I put the little clicker light in my pocket. We get stopped at the very front door of this retail store by some big guy in just plain, he's just wearing regular clothes, just plain clothes. Only 2 of us got caught. The other 2 were able to walk away. Walk us to the security room. They show us footage of us stealing, or whatever the other dude stole and what I stole. They're showing me open up this package, putting this thing in my pocket. And it's like, frick, man, like, they caught us for real. Like, they got footage and everything. So it was bad. Parents had to pay a fine, and then we were banned from the store for, I don't know if there was an actual time limit. Don't do it. Don't steal. Fact number 13. Wow. I forget about this a lot, actually. So fact number 13, I was robbed at gunpoint my senior year of high school. Not just me, but one of my best friends. I was working at Subway at the time, Subway sandwiches. I worked at 2 locations total. The first location I got hired at, I was working with 3 of my best friends. Because one of us 4, the older cousin was the manager of that Subway location, so he was able to get us all jobs, and it was cool. Like, all 4 of us were working there at one time, and it was like the go-to spot. I eventually went to another Subway, which was closer to my high school, which is actually right around the corner from my high school. That's why I did it. So I could walk there after school instead of having to drive 3-4 exits away. I was able to get one of my best friends there's 4 of us total. I was able to get one of them a job to transfer over to the Subway near our high school. So I did that, and it was cool. It was our first shift together. We were closing the store, and it was great. It was his first shift at the new Subway. We had both worked at Subway together before at the first location. Now we're at the second location together. Let me just say, if you've ever been to the Subway by Westview High School, you know how poorly situated that place is in reference to worker safety, like security, especially at night. And what I mean by this is, the back of the store is facing the street, the main street. So if you're driving on the road, you can't see inside the store. You just see the back of our stores. You see a wall. So you can't see what's going on inside. And then the front of the store is facing the school. So if it's the weekend or nighttime when school's already out, like, there's no traffic coming through. Like, no one's gonna see you. No one can really see what's going on inside the store either. No one's there. And that's exactly what happened. And every time I think of it, it's like, dude, the people who robbed us, who held us up, it's not their fault that someone built a plaza that was easy to rob. It's their fault for robbing us, though. It's the weekend, so school's not in session. Plus, it's nighttime. So all the stores around us are closed. A dry cleaning, a coffee shop, a tutoring place. I think the dance studio was there. There was a dance studio there before. And they're already closed. It's 8 p.m. at night. We close at 9 p.m. They're already closed. So we're the only store open. You can't see into our store from the main road. The school's not in session. It's dark out. There's no people walking around. I'm in the back washing dishes. Again, one of my best friends. It's his first shift at this new location. He's up front sweeping. And all I hear is, get on the ground. Like, I just hear someone yelling at him. And I just hear him drop the broom, and he ran to the back. I'm like, what is going on? So I walk to the front not knowing what is going on. And right away, these dudes got guns pointing at us. 2 guys. Open the register, give them the money, they take the money, and what I will say about the whole experience, and it's crazy because I never really thought about it until I thought about making this video and was putting together 30 facts. I never thought about how, you know, the scariest part wasn't when the guy had his gun to my head like this close while I was opening the register. The scariest part, and I can't even imagine how my friend felt, who was on the ground the whole time. The scariest part is when he asked me, right before they left, they asked me to get on the ground as well. And that was the scariest moment for me. Because at that point, the whole time, even though he had a gun to my head, I could see what was going on. There's like a sense of like, you understand what's going on. But once he asked me to get on the ground, he took away a full, you know, my sense of sight, and I didn't know if he was going to shoot us in the back, if they were going to shoot us in the back or what. We just stayed on the ground for like a minute. We waited until they left. You know, we were listening at this point. We heard them leave, the door open, we heard them leave. We stayed on the ground for another minute, and then we got up. My best friend's girlfriend at the time, they're married now, but girlfriend at the time actually came, you know, for a late dinner to come pick him up. And she didn't believe us. She didn't believe that we had just gotten robbed. And, you know, it's such a crazy thing. And, you know, we told her we just got robbed. We're closing in 30 minutes anyway, so we were closing like normal. It was already 8:30 at this point. The cops were on their way. The cops finally showed up, and, you know, they took their police report, and that was it. I think we took a few days off of work, and, you know, it was like nothing happened. Fact number 14, team captain. I was team captain of every basketball team I've played on from 5th grade up until senior year of high school. You can take it for what it is. Maybe every single coach I've had just felt bad for me. Maybe I'm okay at basketball. I don't know. Fact number 15. In 2011, I had a psychosomatic stress-induced catheter in me for 2 months. I couldn't urinate. This one morning I woke up and, you know, I had to use the restroom, and I couldn't urinate. Like, I could feel it in my, you know, in my bladder. I could feel it all there, and it just wouldn't come out. So something's wrong, you know. So immediately I was like, you know, I gotta go get checked. So I went straight to ER. They got me checked, and the only thing the doctor could tell me was I had a slightly enlarged prostate. I couldn't urinate. You can't just keep your urine in you forever. They had to put a catheter in me. They had to put a tube up. Yeah. Which is crazy. So this is in 2011. I turned 21 that year, but as you know by now, my birthday's in December, so at the time I was only 20 years old. So this was blowing my mind. As a 20-year-old, I had a catheter in me. And so like a month goes by, and the doctor calls me, and he's like, you know, I think it's time for you to take that thing out. I'm like, okay. And he tells me the procedure. I had to take it out myself in the shower. Insane. I was 20 years old, having to pull out my own catheter. And let me tell you, it's not the most painful thing in the world. I've experienced much more painful things than that. But it is the most mind-blowing. Like, it is crazy. Like, am I really about to pull this thing out of my thing? It's wild. And the sensation is, it's like, you know, it's like cringy. It's like, you're like anticipating it, and you're not ready, and you just have to muster up the courage to just yank it out. Anyways, that's a month in. We go about my day. Guess what? I still can't urinate. So I have to go back and get a second catheter put back in. Okay? And, you know, fast forward another month goes by. The doctor calls me again, says, try it again, pull it out. Anyways, that's that. That same day I was able to urinate on my own. Turns out, you know, problem solved, apparently. Not until a few years later, when I'm going to college. At this time, I've already transferred to Cal State University, Long Beach. I'm taking a psychology class, and we're learning about this concept called psychosomatic stress. And the whole time I'm sitting in class learning about this psychosomatic stress, a light bulb goes off in my head like, yo, that is what I had. When your psyche is so affected by something that your body reacts in that same way. So my mental health was so bad that my body started to shut down on itself. And it works the other way too. So there's so much psychotic stress where when you treat your body poorly, say you're overexerting your body maybe for a competition, or you're just not treating it well, you're gonna mentally break down at some point, or you're gonna burn out a lot quicker. I was in a back and forth relationship, all by my own doing. I was a really wishy-washy guy, not the best person to date. It was my fault. Because of that person eventually started to move on, started to pay attention to other guys, and I felt some type of way about it. So much so that my mental health was being affected. So much so that my body started to break down. And the way that my body broke down, I couldn't urinate. So yeah, it took a few years until I realized what actually happened. Psychosomatic stress induced catheter. Fact number 16, I've had 3 traffic tickets. The first one, I was speeding home from work. It was like 9 at night. I'm going like 86 miles an hour, which, to be honest, like, yes, it's pretty fast. The speed limit I was on 56 West. The speed limit on 56 West is 65 miles per hour. And it was clear, there's no one on the road. Like, let me just go home. I just got off work. That's what I was trying to tell the CHP, and he wasn't having it. The second traffic ticket, also a speeding ticket. I actually picked up my dad. He just came home from the Philippines, so I picked him up from Los Angeles Airport, LAX. We're on our way home down to San Diego. I'm on the 5 South speeding home because it's late already. I just want to get home. So I'm speeding home. Again, not even that fast. I think I was only going like 81. So relative to the speed limit, 65 miles per hour, yes, it was over the limit. Were other cars going much, much faster? Yes. So why are you pulling me over? Third traffic ticket was something the CHP officer called an unsafe turn. So I'm driving up from San Diego. At the time, I'm already going to school at CSULB. Driving up. Honestly, first of all, I shouldn't have been driving up so late. I was driving up to make an exam. I was like, I like had an exam within the hour, and I was driving. I decided to go back to San Diego the night before, which is not smart anyways. Driving up, trying to make it to the exam. There's a big vehicle in front of me. It was either another SUV or a van or something, where I couldn't see, directly in front. And they made just like a quick jerk, because there was something in the middle of the road. They jerked so quickly and so late that I had to do the same thing. Just so happened I cut off a CHP officer. When he pulled me over, I was trying to tell him, yo, you saw the van in front of me. Like, I'm sure you saw the van in front of me, or the SUV or whatever vehicle is in front of me. Pretty sure you saw them swerve real quick. I had to do the same thing to miss the thing in the road. I was only reacting to what was in front of me. Like, yes, I made an unsafe turn, but like, circumstances, come on. Fact number 17, college. So first college I went to out of high school was San Diego Miramar Community College. I was there for 2.5 years. And then when it was time for me to transfer, it just didn't make sense to transfer mid-school year, because I think just the classes weren't available at Long Beach, or I just wanted to start on a clean slate. I don't know. It just didn't make sense to me for whatever reason. So after my 2.5 years at San Diego Miramar Community College, I took a half year off. I just worked. And then, and then I transferred to Cal State University Long Beach, and I was there for 2 years. I graduated with a degree with a Bachelor of Science in Criminal Justice. I'm pretty sure now if you graduate with that, there's a little bit more science, like more labs. So I think now it's like criminology, but at the time it was criminal justice. I know a lot of my classmates applied other counties, even places they're not from. For me, I wanted to move back home. So I think there's something like 7 PDs in San Diego. 7 police departments: Escondido, Chula Vista, La Mesa, Carlsbad, SDPD, and then whatever ones I'm missing. At the time, only 2 PDs were hiring: SDPD, San Diego Police Department, and Carlsbad PD. So I applied to both. Both of them had like 500 to 600 applicants. And SCPD, I did not get very far. SCPD, I did the written exam, and then I did the physical, and something in the written exam they didn't like about me. They don't tell you what you did, what they don't like about you. So I don't know to this day why I didn't make the cut or go any further. Same thing with Carlsbad PD. Also like 500 to 600 applicants. I went through the written exam, which is, it's a huge exam. It's like 50 pages. It's part like your knowledge about the law, about policing. It's part situational, like what if this happened, what would you do? It's part like memorization. They have you stare at this picture, and then they take the picture away from you, and they're like, was the kid by the house wearing stripes or polka dots? And then part of it is personal. It's like, have you ever done this? Have you ever done this? So I passed that for Carlsbad. They took me in, and then I did the physical exam for them. I passed that, and then I did a panel interview with, I think it was just a regular cop with a sergeant of the department and with a detective, I believe, and then there was an HR person on the side just kind of monitoring the whole thing. But I did a panel interview, 3 versus 1. I passed that, and then I got onto, I think, the second to last thing. I got pretty far. So at this point, from 500 to 600 candidates, they said there was something like 30 of us left. 30 of us left, which is crazy. And they were only hiring 9 people, I think, at the time. So 21 people didn't get a job. Unfortunately, one of those 21 people was me. Anyways, I make it to this like one of the final stages, which was a more intimate interview, because the panel interview were kind of like in a conference room. In this one, it was like a small room. It was me. I felt like I was getting interrogated for real, like I did a crime. It was me, a police lieutenant, and I think a different detective. So it was 3 of us, 2 versus 1 this time, in a very small, in a small room. And that's as far as I got. But I was this close. Like, that would have been crazy. The past 7 years, I could have been a cop this whole time, Carlsbad PD. And it just so happens during my probationary period of waiting to reapply or another department to open up, I got hired where I am now, still 7 years later. Fact number 18, my eyes were pretty bad growing up. I actually got prescribed glasses when I was, I think, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th grade. I was really young, and I just never wore them because I didn't want to wear them. I am nearsighted, I believe, right? Nearsighted is like when you can see up close but you can't see very far. That is me. Because of that, I wanted to increase my chances for the physical, or any physical for policing, because I knew I was going to go into policing post-college. So a few months before I graduated college, I got LASIK eye surgery. And my vision went from, I don't even know what it was before. It went from whatever it was before to 2015. Yeah. So has my vision deteriorated since then? Yeah, it's deteriorated a little bit. But I go to the optometrist once a year, and they say it's still pretty close to 2015. So, but I remember like the weeks after my LASIK, my vision was like crazy good from far away. Like, people who have amazing vision just naturally, such a gift. Fact number 19, work experience. My very first job ever. Her mom and my dad are siblings, so we are first cousins. My first cousin's husband's family. So my first cousin has a husband. The husband's family owned a Filipino restaurant. They're running a Filipino restaurant. That was my first job ever. It was cafeteria styles like Panda Express, or even if you're local to San Diego, you know about like Tita's Kitchenette or Lisa's, or things like that. Orient Valley cafeteria style. You come in, there's food, you pick what you want. It's usually 2 entree with rice or pancit, and then that's all I did. I just scooped food and I rang people up, and then if they needed me to carry something in the back, I'll carry something. Thankfully for me, My Tagalog is pretty broken. I'm not fluent at all. It's pretty choppy. It was even worse back then because I'm getting better now that I'm older because it interests me. So I'm taking an effort to be better and be more proficient. But back then, especially, it was even worse. So thankfully, we were in the suburbs of San Diego in PQ, and I didn't really have to speak Tagalog too much. And yeah, so that was my very first job, Filipino restaurant. Second job ever was Subway. We talked about Subway earlier. I worked at 2 locations. We talked about how I worked with my best friends. My third job was a nursing home. I worked at a nursing home. I don't have a medical background at all. My title was something called a safety monitor. It was basically I was basically assigned 1 or 2 residents per shift, and they could range from, for example, someone who has dementia, and I would just have to be around them to remind them, hey, you're in a nursing home, or hey, do you need anything? Hey, I'm so-and-so, this is so-and-so, you are so-and-so, because they would forget, you know. Other residents I might have had to watch were like maybe flight risks. So there were some residents who were all there, were not mentally, you know, nothing mentally wrong or diagnosed. It's just their families put them there and they didn't want to be there. So there's literally some people who would try to walk out the front door and just figure it out from there. They're disabled people, you know, maybe have to push them around in a wheelchair if they want to go to the main conference room or whatever they want to do, just help them out. So that was my job. It was a safety monitor, just did very basic things. If there was actually something medically that needed to be done, I would just report to the nursing station, let them know what the resident wanted, and that was that. My next job after that was Target. Target was during the time, was like literally a month and a half after that whole catheter situation. I started working at Target. I still mentally wasn't all there. I was still going through it, still not over that whole situation I was talking about earlier. And I wouldn't recommend this for everybody. It worked for me. And I just told myself, let's go get a graveyard shift job to keep your minds off of things. Since I'm already awake at night anyways, it was like that for a month before I decided. So I applied at Target, and then I worked graveyard shift. It was 11 p.m. to 7:30 a.m. Job was to unload the truck, organize boxes, and then stock shelves for 8 hours. You know, I had music in the whole time. It wasn't so bad. It actually went by pretty quick. And it did its job. I was there for a couple months before I got burnt out, and it served its purpose. And it's the only time I've never put in my 2 weeks. I literally called them after a shift, and I said, you know, I'm not coming back because I was just burnt out and I didn't need anymore. But it definitely helped me. Again, I don't know if it's gonna help everybody, but instead of being in bed crying all night and just being awake at night wondering this and that, I was preoccupied. I had to go to work, and by the time I got home after such a, first of all, respect to the people who stock shelves. Like, that's not easy at all. After coming home from that, after a graveyard shift, I would knock out and then, you know, start the cycle all over again. Wake up like, like 4 or 5 in the afternoon, 3, 4, 5, and have a few hours to myself and get ready for work. After that, I was at GNC. I worked at GNC, the supplement store. I worked at 4 locations total. I worked there throughout college. So I worked there for like 3 to 4 years at 4 separate locations because I was constantly going back and forth from San Diego to Long Beach in between school, because I wouldn't stay up in Long Beach during the summer. I would come back home to save money. Yeah, so I worked at 4 locations total. Man, I've tried everything. Like, obviously I haven't tried every single brand, every single product, but I've tried every single type of product. Not just because I worked there and I bought stuff for myself from time to time, but because like brand reps, they would come to GNC and they would drop off whole product of like testosterone boosters or pre-workout or whatever it was that they wanted us to sell, so that we would try it and hopefully sell it, you know. So I've tried thousands of dollars of stuff for free. A lot of us, like 95% of us don't need. But it's interesting. I've tried, you know, test boosters, thermogenics, pre-workouts, obviously all different types of proteins, so egg proteins, milk-based proteins like casein and whey, plant-based proteins. I've tried, what else have I tried? Mass gainers I've tried, and all because it was free. Creatine, you know, anything you could think of, I've tried it. I've been a personal trainer the past few years, since 2018, certified personal trainer. And then in the middle of the, actually 2 months before the pandemic, so January 2020, I applied to 24 Hour Fitness. Before I worked at 24, it was all garage training and, like, you know, training, like outdoors kind of training. I never worked at a gym before when I was doing personal training prior to 24 Hour Fitness. So I decided to apply for 24 Hour Fitness as a trainer. They literally no 24 Hour Fitnesses in San Diego are hiring level 1 trainers, which is what I was with just one cert. So I was like, you know, screw it. Like, I want to eventually go into gym industry in the future anyways. Let me just work front desk and learn the operation side of it. So that was actually a blessing in disguise, because I learned a lot about how a commercial gym operates. So I was at 2 different locations. I was at Point Loma. That's one of the gyms that actually closed down during the pandemic. Once a few months went by, I got transferred to Balboa 24. So those are two locations I worked at. TV shows. Let's start with non-animated first. Top 4, no order. I'm gonna go Black Mirror, Mad Men, This Is Us, and Westworld. Top 4 animated TV shows, no order. Attack on Titan, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Naruto. Fact number 21. I was raised Catholic. In 2019 though, so you know, there's a lot of war because of religion, and particularly the 3 Abrahamic religions, you know, Judaism, Christianity, Islam. So 2019, I just had the idea, like, dude, what is going on? Like, why are we always fighting over 3 religions that, to my knowledge, were pretty closely related? But that's just like my hearsay and what I knew up to the time. So I was like, let me just read these books. So in 2019, I read the 3 primary Abrahamic texts. So the Jewish Tanakh, which has the Torah in it, the Christian Bible, and the Islamic Quran. I read all 3, and let me just tell you, they are not easy to read. They're like old English and like metaphors, and it's super hard to read, and it took a while, but I did it. And it's just interesting. They talk about a lot of the same things. They believe in a lot of the same things. It's just there's certain laws. You hear about Sharia, and you hear about even like food laws like kosher and halal. And it's just, what's the biggest difference is just kind of like the way they seek punishment for certain things. That was my biggest takeaway from reading these 3 books. It's just a different belief in how God, who they all have the same God, deals with certain things. Fact number 22. I'm politically independent. I actually took a quiz because I'm really not sure what I am sometimes. And it said I'm politically independent, but I am Democratic leaning opposed to Republican leaning. Fact number 23. I took a Myers-Briggs type indicator, or the 16 personalities test. I took it just for this video, for this 30 facts video. It's something I've always wondered, and I just never did it. I don't know. Just never did. And I finally did it, and it's really interesting because, in my opinion, it is on point. So I am an ISTJ-A, which is an assertive logistician. And I read like this whole page or 2 pages of what that meant, And, you know, sometimes there's things that you read and you're like, oh, that kind of makes sense. That kind of doesn't make sense. Dude, this makes sense. Like, I read this whole thing. I'm like, yo, this is me. Another thing I did just for this video, fact number 24, is I took a love language test. My primary love language as a recipient is quality of time. My primary love language as a giver is acts of service. We could like just be hanging out wherever and just talking. My most common act of service, and it goes on to what we talked about earlier about me being very organized. If I'm at an event or a party or something or a hangout, I'll offer to clean. One, because it's a nice thing to do. If it comes naturally to me, then why not offer something I'm good at anyways? Fact number 25, injuries. I'm not the greatest athlete in the world, but I do play sports and I have gotten hurt. And I'm also a personal trainer now, and I've tried a lot of things on my own just to test them out. Sprained my plantar fascia, both feet, sprained my toes, sprained my ankles, partially fractured. Like, you could literally put your finger or your hand on my right talus bone on my foot, on my ankle, and there is a noticeable indent. Strained left soleus, straight right anterior tibialis, basically your shin splint, osgood slaughter, left knee bursitis, strained hamstrings. I had a really bad knot in my right quadriceps, so much that I had to be put on crutches for like a month. Strained adductor, strained groin, herniating a disc in between my L5 and my S1 vertebrae that led to sciatica, micro tore an ab muscle, sprained my fingers, I've sprained my right wrist, broke my right forearm, strained my traps before my trapezius, right shoulder bursitis, left rotator cuff micro tear, chipped my tooth. 26, drugs, alcohol, nicotine. I don't smoke cigarettes. There was a phase like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, cigars, chewing tobacco once, marijuana. It's crazy. So I'm gonna tell you my marijuana usage. And as someone who lives in California where marijuana is legal now, first of all the times I did marijuana, three of the 4 times, I've only done them 4 times is what I'm saying. 3 of the 4 times were prior to it being legalized. But even so, like, now that it's legalized, it's pretty freaking normal. It's like a everyday thing here now. It's like not even taboo anymore. And I've still only done it 4 times total. I don't know why. I don't see anything wrong with it. We all know the benefits of it. I just haven't made the switch, I guess. So I've smoked twice. I've also consumed edibles twice. Codeine. I've had codeine and Sprite, aka lean, aka purple drink. One of my best friends, he had just gotten PRK surgery, which is a little bit more in-depth surgery than just LASIK eye surgery. So he had PRK eye surgery. They gave him codeine, you know, to help him with the pain. We're at a baby shower and he had his codeine on him because he had to take it every few hours, I think, something like that. I don't know. He had it on him basically. I was like, yo, let me try this. You know, you always hear about rappers drinking lean and purple drink, and I don't know, I was just on one. I was like, I got to try this. So, you know, we're at a baby shower. I put some codeine in a cup, put some soda, some Sprite in, mixed it up, drank it down. Tasted fine. It was whatever until it wasn't whatever. I got so sleepy, and that's all I got from it. Fact number 27. My jersey number is 31. Ever since I was young, I guess I've never really had a favorite number. If you were to ask me when I was younger, I might have said the number 7 because I'm born on December 7th. So I don't know, just by default, I think when I was young, I would tell people 7 was my favorite number. And then that slowly changed over time to 21. And from what I could remember, it's because I liked how the 2 and the 1 looked next to each other. I just thought it looked cool. So much so that my first screen name ever for AOL Instant Messenger, was Pinoy Baller 21. PNOIBALLER 21. That was my first screen name ever. Pinoy Baller 21. And then, you know, that phased out. And then I was dating someone after that. I was dating someone whose favorite number was 22. So my favorite number became 22 for a while. All this to say, I never really had a favorite number, a go-to number. It was always changing. My first cousin, he's one of my best friends. His mom and my mom are sisters. And, you know, we grew up together. We're almost the same age. My brother, I told you earlier, is 1 year and 3 months older than me. this cousin I'm talking about, my first cousin, he is 10 months older than me, and then it's me. So us three were like, he was our second brother. Us three were always together at family parties, always getting in trouble. And yeah, he passed away. It was really unexpected, and you know, I just knew I wanted to do something for him, something meaningful, and it just made sense. I didn't have a favorite number, and his first name, it starts with a C, which is the third letter of the alphabet. First name starts with an A, which is the first letter of the alphabet. So 3 and 1 side by side is 31. That is why my number is 31. It's to honor him. Honestly, he was my first cousin, but he's a brother. He's one of my best friends. If I was getting married today and he was still here, he'd definitely be a candidate for my best man, you know? That's how close we were. He's really my second older brother. So yeah, I wear 31 because of him. Fact number 28, I had to perform CPR once. So as a personal trainer, I had to be certified for CPR. First of all, I think everybody should be certified for CPR. I don't know why it's not like a mandatory subject in school or thing at school that all of us learn how to do it. It should be. That was the longest 15 minutes of my life. Because from the time that we called 911 and I performed CPR and we're waiting for the paramedics to come, they got there quick, 15 minutes, but just for 15 minutes I had to do CPR on someone, not knowing if they're about to pass away or not, and not knowing if what I was doing was really helpful or not. And from what I learned, it was, you know, but when you're in the moment, especially for your first time, so many things are going through your head and it's just chaotic. And then yeah, you know, paramedics came, all was good, you know, person's okay. And yeah, it was just crazy. You know, I have a lot of respect for people in the medical field who have to do this a lot. People in paramedics or any other field that I'm not thinking of right now, that I can't think of, just forgetting, that do this on the regular, because that's wild. It's a lot of responsibility. Fact number 29, I don't use dating apps. I've had Tinder for 1 day, and I will tell you the story. And honestly, it's not even a day, but anyways, we're at a bachelor party, a bachelor weekend. We're out of town, as we always are for these. And I don't want to say too much because I don't want to give anyone up. It's not even like it's anything bad. I just, you know, I don't feel like giving anyone up for whatever reason. And I just bachelor party, and we're out Friday night, and I'm a little drunk already, and I have this great idea. So we have access to a pool. Let's just say that much. So I'm out Friday night with the boys, and I'm just like, yo, we're gonna have a pool party tomorrow. There's like a little in between. There's a few hours where we didn't have plans in the mid-afternoon after morning activity and before evening activity. So I was like, we're gonna have a pool party then during that time. So I was like, I'm gonna download Tinder. First time ever. I'm gonna download Tinder, and I'm gonna make it happen. I'm just gonna swipe on everybody. We're gonna have a crazy pool party, you know? So download Tinder first time. Don't know how to use the app. Put a random picture that I like of myself on there. In the bio, it literally says, here for the weekend for a bachelor party, trying to have a pool party tomorrow. Hit me up. Come through, whoever you want. Something like that. Something crazy like that. And then here I am, just drunk on a Friday night, trying to make a pool party happen the next Saturday, the following day. Just swiping. I think it's right, correct? You swipe right if you like them. I was just swiping right on everybody. I wasn't even looking at this point. And then at some point I even passed it to the guys I was with, and they were just swiping. So we must have swiped on hundreds of profiles, just trying to get hits to come to this pool party that we're trying to throw. Go to sleep that night, 0 hits. Wake up Saturday morning, I'm so excited. I'm like, dude, this is about to be crazy. We're about to have a pool party off the, just, you know, off this like spontaneous Tinder trip. And then I check my phone, and I have 0 hits back. I have 0 DMs, 0 messages. I don't even know what they're called, 0 matches. And we're dying, dude. I'm just like telling everyone in the house, like, yo, I got 0 hits. And of course they're roasting me, like, you know, because I got 0 hits back or matches. So it was just funny. I thought we're gonna have this pool party and download Tinder for it, and got 0 matches. So Yeah, I deleted it right away that same morning. So I might have had it for less than 12 hours, less than 10 hours maybe. And that's my experience with dating apps. And you know what? I have nothing against dating apps. I know people who've gotten married after meeting someone on a dating app. I know people who've been in long-term relationships with someone that they met off a dating app. So, dude, I believe in them for sure. Just for me, personally, something in me doesn't want to get involved with dating apps, even though I know they work and I know they're great. Fact number 30, I do not have any tattoos or piercings. Piercings, I don't think I'm ever gonna get any piercings. It's just not, there's nothing that interests me to get a piercing, even if it's just my ears. Like, I don't see it happening. Growing up, I've had so many tattoo ideas and I'm happy I got none of them. I'm happy I took the time to think it through, or I was just broke and couldn't afford it. I do have a couple now though that I want to get. Kind of the same thing. I'm just giving it some time to see if I actually want to get it or not, because who knows, maybe a year goes by and man, I actually didn't want that tattoo and I'm happy I didn't get it. Or maybe a year goes by, I'm like, damn, I still kind of want that tattoo, you know? So we'll see. Definitely no piercings, maybe get a tattoo in the future. Holy, good grief. I did not think it was gonna take this long. I planned out the 30 facts, but I didn't plan out what I was gonna say, so I didn't expect it to take this long. Holy, oh. If you watch the whole thing, I don't even know what to say. Thank you, I appreciate it. See you in the next video. Hopefully it's shorter than this one.